Hello, and welcome back to Alan Wake 2. We have just finished Initiation 5? Room 665? I assume that was Initiation 5. It's been so long since I started it that I've actually forgotten. We'll find out when we get through to this next bit. In a fancy hotel. Okay, we're starting back in the bath. Well, not in the bathtub. We're still in the hotel. Which I actually wasn't expecting. I'm not entirely sure why. Let's use a trauma pad. It's interesting that realistically... Oh, we've got no batteries at all. Yeah, I wasn't actually expecting us to start here. I don't know why. We're in the exact same... Yeah, we've still got the plot board. So I guess we could... I've left a trauma pad down there. Science room, access to Sky Bridge. For your safety. Alan Wake. Trauma pad was in the office. Every now and again, we get caught on doors in a really odd way. Wasn't the office? No, it's... Oh, in the box over here. Okay, so that replaces the one that we've just used. So I guess... we're heading out to... Parliament Tower
was here, again. Zane said the manuscript of return was the key to escaping. I had to get it before Scratch did.
Had I chosen to pursue the cult, or had they chosen me for some unknowable purpose?
Ineffable.
Demon. To sort the clues based on my interpretation, to change that which I observed. It was all a play. Shadows on the wall of the cave. An echo of the true events that happened somewhere else. Was I there to watch the shadows, or was I a shadow too? In a performance set up for someone else.
I mean, he literally is, isn't he? He's a performance set up for us to follow and to take inspiration from. But the fact that he's almost becoming self-aware... I wonder... I can't imagine those posters were there previously. Right, there's no point switching back to Saga. Who are the other members of Artie's band? Huh. Right, Parliament Tower is over here. I was expecting the phone to be ringing. Yes, interesting that all of these posters from Alice's exhibition. Ooh. Color palette shift. Ping. Right. I assume this is still going to have the flashes that the soft boxes and stuff that go off. But maybe there were going to be significant differences. Or maybe this is just a really short chapter.
Go to hell!
Return. Huh. Well, first of all, the door's on the other side. So, that's obvious. But yeah, the facts...
I needed to get inside the manuscript.
This is a completely different apartment, isn't it? It's much smaller.
Alice had turned the bathroom into a dark room.
Of course she had. Yeah, these are all the pictures of Scratch. Or potentially various versions of us that have somehow seeped through. No such thing as too personal. The photos are me. Just need to show a glimpse. Make you see what's beneath the surface. Return. Oh, that's... that's that room. Okay, so we can't get into the writer's room. We can go on the computer.
For months after Ellen died, I didn't leave the apartment. I was flattened.
Oh, is this the exhibition?
Confusion. Shock. The guilt. Fear.
Love is weakness.
I could barely get out of bed. Barry Wheeler started visiting. He even cooked me meals. I couldn't stand the guy when I first met him, but he's a better friend than I gave him credit for. And he still checks in. Even after he moved out west.
Yeah, so we've got on the wall there, trigger when viewer close. So it's a proximity sensor. So is this a kind of mock-up of her exhibition? Or is this the exhibition? Let's read the emails. Hey Alice, everything good with you back home? Just checking in. Tried to call but couldn't reach you. You're probably just deep in your creative process. I know how you artists get when you're in the middle of your projects. Everything else disappears. Yep. If you call back and can't reach me, I'm doing whatever it is an executive producer is supposed to do. Still a mystery to me. And if you want to help with anything business related to your exhibition, just say the word. Your pal. Hey Alice, sharks circling. They now want to turn what happened to Al into a movie and or TV show and or get this a fucking video game. Meta! I told them to fuck off. Also, in case you hear about this from someone else, a true crime writer named Tammy Booker. She's one of the people that Saga ran into in Bright Falls, isn't she? Working on a book about Al. I told Dana. Yeah, in fact, she's she's one of the two people that kicked off the whole thing, isn't she? The Bookers. So that's 6 months ago. Checking in, Barry. Hey Alice, checking in because I haven't heard from you. Everything good back there? Been trapped in non-stop meetings with no breaks. Open kimono. I've considered peeing in a mug and lunches be damned. How these people ever get a movie made when all they do is sit in meetings is beyond me. Hey Alice, you're going to think I've been replaced by an evil double, but I've joined a cult, and I love it. Joking about it being a cult, kind of. Blessed wellness retreat. Working with Al or the Andersons was tough sometimes, but these movie biz types are insane. My stress levels were through the roof. But then I was tipped off about the retreats. The best decision I ever made. I never felt this good and, well, healthy. The guy who runs this place, Chester, is a goddamn miracle worker, not a wacko in any way. Yes, that's what somebody in a cult would say. I know you think I'm full of shit. Well, I've lost a ton of weight. You wouldn't recognise me. Chester says I'm lucky to have ended up here. Something bad would have happened to me if I'd stayed in New York. I believe him. I wasn't feeling great after everything that happened, especially after those FBC creepos wanted to chat with me. Enough to turn anyone into a conspiracy nuts. I hope you're good over there. Come visit any time. West Coast is not as bad as I made it sound in my earlier mails. Greetings from Hollywood. Hey, Alice. I'm more fish out of water in Hollywood than I ever was in the Pacific Northwest wilderness. These yuppies with their glow-in-the-dark teeth couldn't be more fake if they had 6 fingers, and everything's so fucking great all the time, even when in fact it's the opposite. More than once I've thrown up in my mouth during meetings with these movie exec jerks. But I've got to be here to look after Al's legacy. Everyone wants to gobble up the film rights for the Casey books, and they've moronic ideas of what to do with them. It's my duty to herd this horde of tanned zombies into the general direction of something resembling good taste. I'm painfully aware how deeply Al would have hated adaptations if they didn't do justice to his vision. He was a master of hating things deeply, for good reasons. I mean, that's why we loved him so much, right? Anyway, gotta hop on another video call now to talk about casting. Interesting. I wonder... I mean, these are all incoming mails, but there's no replies. At least not as part of an email chain. So has something happened to Alice? Has she just become lost in the process? It's a nice silhouette.
Alice's work had consumed the apartment. Her whole life.
It still doesn't explain why the door's on the other side. But maybe that's the point. Need to show you the truth on all screens. The darker the better. Yeah, so she's literally turning the apartment into the exhibition, and she will be, I assume, elsewhere. That reminds me of a piece of modern art that I saw in the Tate Modern when I was a kid. It was slightly more dramatic than this. It was a rectangle rather than a square, and it was a coloured rectangle rather than a square, and it had a slightly bigger than a post-it note rectangle in the corner of a different colour. I can't remember now whether the rectangle in the corner was blue and the bigger rectangle was red or vice versa, but I just know that it was 250k or something, that somebody had paid for that, and it was art. It was one of the things, one of the most formative things of my youth that made me realise that a lot of art is pretension and bollocks. Which is ironic because I studied GCSE art and I paint. We'll go in there in 1 second. Clarity is purpose. So these are spaces that she's got sorted for. Am I just misremembering the layout of the apartment? But I could have sworn when we came through the door we turned right. This was the bedroom. Yeah, there was a door there. We turned right. We came through bedroom, hallway, kitchen, lounge, kitchen. Maybe not. Connection through pain, pain through love. No boundaries, be ruthless. Yeah, it's very much like she's trying to convince herself maybe that what she's doing is right. Maybe that this is the only way she is free. Maybe there's more to it than that.
One morning, I saw a deer soar past my bedroom window. It was a balloon of some cartoon animal. And I looked out at the street below, and I saw a little girl crying. Like losing that balloon had just ended her whole world. It was the perfect image of the horror of caring. And that's when I got myself out of bed. And I picked up my camera.
The horror of caring. Part 2, the comeback weakness is clarity. Oh. So these are coming on in order.
There was something in the dark. Something I needed to see, to show.
I like the framing of the television with
The
the
more shadows I photographed and found,
silhouette
the more
behind.
I felt like I was on the verge of a breakthrough. I submerged myself in it. I only went out at night.
That's not smart in
Search became
New York.
obsessive, but I still had no idea what I was looking for.
Well, that's the curse of art, isn't it?
There's a world hidden behind ours. A dark tide ebbing and flowing against reality. Faces in the shadows.
She's speaking metaphors, of course, but we
Fear of the
know
dark,
differently as
fear
the
of what
player.
could be, that
And obviously Alan knows differently, because of course
paralyzing
Alice can't
motion.
remember anything.
But photography can freeze reality in a snapshot. Put a cage around the infinite. And
Still, I don't understand what's going on with the lights behind her.
I need to prove those faces are really there.
Oh. Whoop. This is the same thing as before. Not quite the same. Didn't he... Wasn't there a body at the desk last time? Was that the last time we saw this? Oh, the manuscript.
The full manuscript of a novel. Return. A horror story about the dark presence escaping from the dark place, taking over Bright Falls. I couldn't remember writing it. I had not written it. I would never write this. I knew who had. Scratch. A monster with my face. If this story came true, Scratch would get out, people would die. Destroying the manuscript, it wouldn't stop it from happening. I would have to fix it, edit it. I could not change the genre of the story. I'd have to work within the constraints set by Scratch. I needed someone in the story to fight the darkness.
Saga.
Anderson. I kept seeing her in my visions. She was already in Bright Falls, already involved, but she was not in Return. Not yet. I'd write her in. Try to stop Scratch within the limits of the horror story. It was almost impossible. It was taking too long. I had not reached the end.
told and retold. End of parts. Yeah, I expected that to be a shorter one. As soon as we went into the apartment and saw that it was kind of set up like the previous Haunting, wasn't it? Return 3. In terms of gameplay, absolutely nothing in that chapter. We literally walked around. And for some people, that does not a good video game make. But when it is a story with characters that you are already invested in, sometimes just having an interactive cutscene is all you need. And that's all that was. So the critique that has been leveled against Alan Wake 2 that I have seen, I still haven't read a review or anything of it. I know nothing about where the game is going. But I've heard that it's how can this be Game of the Year material? It's just a walking simulator. It's like, chapters like that, I can see why you'd have that kind of point of view. But realistically, there's a lot more gameplay than that. But I like seeing more of Alice. I like seeing those emails from Barry. I don't think we're going to get to see Barry. Or if we see Barry, it won't look like the Barry we remember. And I think that's almost been foreshadowed in the email about him losing weight. Maybe they couldn't get the same actor that they used for the model of Barry in the first game. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe he just won't be in it at all. Just like, or maybe there'll just be a glimpse of him, just like we had a glimpse of Jesse. I'd realised way back towards the start of the game that the manuscript pages that we got, that Saga was picking up, that they were being edited. I don't think I'd realised that it was Scratch who'd wrote the original draft and Alan was adding in things to do with Saga. And one of the things that it would be interesting for me to do, and I'm not going to do it now, is go back through all of those and see how that's been done. Because I just don't think I'd realised that the Saga stuff would all have been in the edits. Because some of them, well, actually no. I mean, most of them I either clicked on and we listened to Alan talk the way through it, or I clicked on read and just looked at the pure kind of formatted text version. It was quite rare that I actually looked at the manuscript version. So I missed out on what was the typewritten text versus Alan's edits. So I'm quite intrigued now as to... I assume it's been done. I assume that what they have just said Alan has been doing there has been consistent all the way through. But because we didn't know that's what's going on, we wouldn't have seen it. It's one of those details that's like so obvious once you know what is going on that you can look back and say, oh God, how did I miss that? And that's good writing, frankly. You know, you could probably argue against that, but with very little ground to stand on, I would say. That is the exact kind of detail, foreshadowing-wise, and it is technically foreshadowing, that makes good writing. Short chapter, 24, 25 minutes, something like that. On to the next one. Hope you've enjoyed this. I don't think I've done or said much in that. It was mostly just me watching Alice's face on a screen and reading out a few emails. But in terms of showcasing what Alice's life was like post-Alan, after Alan died, and I do wonder, is Alan dead? You know, is there a way for him to return to Bright Falls or to the real world? Or is he dead? Is he in a literary afterlife and he's trying to correct the problem and he'll figure out that he can't return? Is that going to be the twist at the end of Return the Story? That he can't? You know, it's been 10 years, so Alice has clearly moved on and turned her trauma into art. Is there a happy ending for Alice and Alan after this? Can't imagine so. I don't know. Looking forward to finding out. Onwards to the next bit. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay fabulous. Goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.